in this world, a cesspool of kindness and ethical blindness. So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Drunk fraternity guy, you got my ass full of bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to decide to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. I was so cool, was so impressed. Lots of chicks in a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. I just can't understand it. Conquer divine by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finish Mr. Whitebeard, you're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. She rolls in a pool of blood and cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Tomatos, I'll pack your bags. Bury you in my castrated gag. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bo's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The public dominant. Conquer divine by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics. Don't let the fucking milk quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
All right, welcome podcast listeners, and thanks for sticking around, live viewers. This is the Plex. We do the show live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch at twitch.tv/EchoPlexMedia. Go to echoplexmedia.com, click the support tab, find ways to support this project. I think the swag shop is the best way, but you can, do what you feel. Do what you feel. Anyway, I'm producer Dave, and this is, in fact, what the people want.
Police officers... I don't hate the cops. There's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Oh, when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Don't hate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rock. Snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops. Don't hate the cops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Like your local police, cause they don't do nothing wrong like your local police. Got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. cops. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. Put your hands above your head and show you're not afraid. I'm the fairest judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. Because they don't do nothing wrong, don't hate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job, don't hate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops.
Well, wouldn't you know it, sore loser Carrie Lake is still doing her sore loser Lake routine. Here's a rather long clip of her on the Steve Bannon show. I don't know how much of this we're going to run, but let's see what's going on over there.
Okay. I thought all Maricopa County was run by the establishment. Carrie Lake joins us now. Ma'am, what happened over the weekend? I understand a bunch of your candidates won out there. That looked like a total grassroots revolt. Carrie Lake.
Yes, the grassroots is not going to sit down and shut up, Steve. And, you know, some people say it's chaos, it's really ugly. No, that's how politics is in America. This is how it's not always clean and smooth and easy. And the grassroots stood up and said, we demand election integrity. And they voted for Team Truth, which was the slate that I endorsed. And we're so proud that 3 of our members made it, Shelby Bush, Craig Berland, and Lawrence Hudson. And it was a rough and tumble meeting. I'm not going to lie about that. I heard a lot of stories from on the inside there. But this is how it works. It's not always super clean and easy. We saw what was happening in Congress when they were trying to elect leadership there. And leadership at the Republican level in Maricopa County is critical. The 3 top people who were chosen care about election integrity. Several of them were involved in helping move my case forward and helping us investigate. Many of them were involved in the forensic audit after 2020. And this is a testament to the grassroots in Maricopa County.
I would just love to ask these people, what do you mean when you say forensic audit? Because I don't think that it actually fucking means anything, at least not the way they use it. I don't think that what they're saying means anything.
Who will not just be quiet about election integrity. In 2020, they said, let's move on. And now in 2022, in broad daylight, our election was stolen.
Well, I thought it happened in the middle of the night.
A grassroots candidate who won in a landslide, and they stole the election in broad daylight. And there are people, can you believe it, in the Republican Party who wanted to just move on and act like it didn't happen. But the grassroots rose up on
There are people in the Republican Party who simply accept the results of the election.
Hell no. We will elect people whose top priority, not second priority, not third priority, but top priority is restoring honest elections. And I'm so proud of these fighters that we've got on our team now.
You said something on Charlie Kirk, and you said it on the War Room also, that if we let the election in Arizona be stolen from Trump in 2020, right? Stolen from you again or attempted to steal because it's still in the courts. If we do that, we're going to end up like Venezuela or like Brazil. And Huffington Post and people are in.
What Brazil, like they just had an election. Like Brazil ended up like us, actually. They had an election. It was a close election. The more liberal leaning person won, and then the fucking followers of the more conservative leaning person like fucking wrecked shop.
Down that Carrie Lake says if she's not put as governor, we're going to end up like Venezuela. But what you said was very powerful. We got about a minute here, and I want to hold you through. But what did you mean by that? To explain to that, because Huffington Post and other left-wing sites are in full meltdown about Carrie Lake is the new Evita.
Yeah, good. They should.
She's not Evita. My God. Who's saying that she's Evita? I don't think anyone is saying that. I think Steve Bannon just fucking made that up.
Because they've been lying to the people for a long time. They've been lying to the people, trying to influence elections with their lies, and the people showed up in droves only to have the election officials steal.
You're going to sing "Don't Cry for Me, Maricopa"?
Hundreds of thousands of ballots, invalid ballots, in to be counted in the legal count. Sabotage election day by making sure that the tabulators wouldn't read the ballots because they intentionally misprinted the ballots. And we already know that 179,000 ballots were spit out, misread on election day. They are running our.
But wait a minute, like but just because they were misread, that doesn't mean they weren't counted. That just means the machine couldn't read them, and they were probably counted by hand.
Do in Venezuela, like they do in North Korea, and if we don't stand up and fix it now, our children will be living in the communist country.
Carrie, just hang her for 1 second. Carrie Lake, you also have what's going on in the grassroots. Tell me the strategy of the elites, the establishment. The establishment's got a very thought-through strategy here how to break us. How are they doing it?
Yeah, well, they steal the elections. Then they steal them in broad daylight and tell us to sit down and shut up. And then they go to our LD meetings and drag things out and add heaps and heaps of frustration, hoping that the grassroots will just throw their hands up in the air and say, I've had enough, and walk out. And they're hoping that we don't vote again either, that we'll just say, why would I ever vote again? That is exactly what they want. They want the grassroots to go away, put their head back in the sand, and just say, it's all so corrupt, we're not going to take part. This is when we have to double down. Katie Hobbs, who is a fraud, released her budget. Let me just read you a couple of lines. This is not what the people voted for, by the way. Removing $12 million from the border strike force to secure our border. Full removal of ESAs, which is vouchers, which allows you to choose which school your tax money goes to for your children.
That's not what a voucher is. It doesn't allow you to decide what money goes to the schools. If you don't have any kids, you can't get a voucher.
For illegals to attend college, removal of money from homeless pregnant women program, funneling it into abortions, $7 million to investigate police officers. The people of Arizona didn't vote for this, and now they're going to go in and try to
sounds kind of based.
The Republican Party from the grassroots who earned everything we've got, and we can't.
Yes, you've earned everything you've gotten. That is correct.
We got to stay till the bitter end, no matter how frustrating they are, and that's what they did on Saturday. I'm so proud of Arizona grassroots Republicans, and I just want to tell them I love them. I'm fighting with them.
Carrie, we're going to have you on tomorrow when the defense has to put forward this appellate court thing. But how do people today get to your site? How do they get to you on social media?
Thanks. And go to Carrie Lake, KARILAKE. I'm on Getter, Twitter, you name it. Or you can go to SaveArizonaFund.com. This is where you can find out more about our law.
You can find out about our donate button.
In the appellate court in Arizona, we're going to take it to the Supreme Court.
Hobbs's defense comes in tomorrow. We'll do a full analysis with Carrie and the team. Carrie Lake, honored to have you on here. Thank you, ma'am.
Carrie Lake is cooked. She's done. The whole thing's over. The election's been over for such a long time. All she's doing here is trying to raise money. She's trying to raise money and like maybe to run again, but mostly probably just to raise money for probably herself, if I had to wager a guess. It's like a version of like what I'm doing here. I'm trying to raise money for myself by doing a Twitch stream and a podcast, but I'm not lying to you about it, pretending I'm going to save the fucking state or whatever. My God. All right. Wendy Rogers of Arizona. She is, I believe, in the state legislature, one of the state legislatures, or she may no longer be there. I don't know. I think she won her reelection. She's kind of fading into the background because of Carrie Lake. So, of course, she had to also join the Real America's Voice network to talk about stolen elections in a very unhinged and possibly incomprehensible way.
You know, I hate to be the Debbie Downer here, but I wonder if it's because some of those senators know those bills will never get passed because they've got a governor in the White House, a governor in the mansion there that will never sign them, so that gives them cover to go ahead and support it knowing it'll never go through.
Well, they also realized that they were sent to the Arizona Senate to represent their constituents, irrespective of whether or not the resident in the governor's seat signs the bills. And oh, by the way, I'm a cockeyed optimist. I think Kari Lake's going to be in the seat. And if you'll look back at the 1916 court case in Arizona, where they had a de facto governor for nearly a year and then replaced him with the actually elected governor, there is court precedent.
Well, Wendy Rogers, I hope you are right about that. That would be just amazing. It would be great for Arizona. I promise you, here's my deal. I will come out. I will buy you and your husband and Kari Lake a steak dinner on me, and I'll be happy to celebrate that when it happens. Senator Wendy Rogers, I always appreciate you fighting for Arizonans and the people of this country. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you. And we have to continue to fight. We must persevere. Just remember, Al Capone was taken down on a mere tax evasion allegation. So you just never know what thing is going to break our way.
You absolutely are right on that. And don't worry, we will always be fighting right here on this show, on this network, and everybody out there watching. Wendy Rogers, thank you.
Cooked. The people are done. They're just not, they can't, I don't think there's any judge out there who's just going to like overturn an election. I don't think judges have that kind of power. I mean, who knows? It's fucking possible, I guess, but I just think it's all over. And I think and I already forget her name, the governor of Arizona now, I think she was really smart to just shut the fuck up and let Kari Lake talk. That was a pretty good fucking strategy. It's a winning strategy. If your opponent is a person who put their brain in an Instant Pot and then put it back in their head, just let them talk. And you can probably win just by not being them. So in more news, George Santos actually invented congressional committees. And so, of course, Kevin McCarthy has to assign him to some of them.
Do you expect Mr. Santos to get seated on a committee today?
No sound?
Yeah, because we will be done with all committees today. He'll get seated on committees, yes.
You said yesterday you had some questions about his past. Did you raise concerns during the campaign season before the election?
Well, I raised my staff raised concerns when he had a staff member who impersonated my chief of staff, and that individual was let go when Mr. Santos found out about it from there.
I didn't even know about that. George Santos had a staff member that impersonated Kevin McCarthy's chief of staff. What the fuck is going on in the Republican Party right now? What do you mean that that's crazy? What do you mean they impersonated your chief of staff? How do you impersonate Kevin McCarthy's chief of staff? Who even knows who what? I thought I was going to be talking about something else there, but that's crazy. Fucking, I don't know. Get him. Go out there. You impersonate the speaker's chief of staff. So a former friend of George Santos actually invented former friends, went on Anderson Cooper to talk about Mr. Santos's history of confabulation.
How long did you actually live together?
We were only roommates for a few months, and I also knew him as Anthony Zabrowski.
Oh, look, he's got a fucking Berkeley shirt on. I bet he was telling people he went to Cal at this point too.
You knew him. Why did he say he had two names then?
Well, he used Zabrowski for his Friends of Pets United, his GoFundMe, and he would say, "Oh well, you know, the Jews will give more if you're a Jew." And so that's the name he used for his GoFundMes.
And what was he having GoFundMes for back then?
He had a pet charity, Friends of Pets United. It was supposedly to help out with, sick animals and things like that. There's actually just an article released from one of my reporters who's been interviewing me a lot, Jacqueline Sweet, about how he conned a homeless military vet out of $3,000 for his service dog. And
Oh man, George Santos is going to be the gift that keeps on giving. Also, the inventor of gifts, George Santos. So we're going to move on to some Hannity. Sean Hannity and his guests are going to talk about the U.S., the UN, and communism.
Why a penny to the World Health Organization? Why don't we let China have the UN? They can keep it. They can pay the $7 billion a year that we're paying.
Well, if these international organizations don't have U.S. influence, I'd say, generally speaking, more Western democratic influence, we know what's going to happen. China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, those are going to be the countries that are in charge of the world, not us. We're the leader of the free world. It's our responsibility to take part in these. I would never say that they are well managed.
You think that these organizations are having any positive impact, that the American people are benefiting from the billions of dollars that our government wastes on these globalist, socialist organizations?
First of all, I would add to the pile, if you're going to insist on calling them globalist socialist organizations, the fact that they're democratic organizations, and that's one of their core missions to promote. So let's look at NATO. What NATO is doing right now to support Ukraine is one of the most incredible things in modern history. Where would we be right now? Vladimir Putin would be in charge of Ukraine. The USSR would be being rebuilt if it weren't for NATO.
Who's paying more for NATO, the United States or Western European NATO countries? We are.
We are paying more. I would never. No, I said we are. But yeah, everyone.
This is like the host of a show on Fox News that they're doing this to. This is amazing.
First of all,
lady, you seem like you probably have marketable skills. Go work somewhere else. These people are monsters.
We have more money than them to contribute. And I'm not saying that we can't reassess how much we do contribute to these organizations.
Tell that to the middle class and poor that are struggling.
Western Europe is a capitalist set of countries, too.
That poor lady. She had to go on the fucking Hannity show and deal with those fucking idiots. Oh, man, I hope the fucking money is worth it, lady. I hope the money's worth it, because you could be working somewhere else. Seems like you know your shit. Anyway, here's what passes for civil debate on the Hannity show. He had a guest on, a liberal guest, to a debate. And, well, let's see how it goes.
As a Democrat, can you be intellectually honest enough to admit there's a double standard?
Well, first of all, you're mixing a lot of different stories here. Let's start with Hillary
Clinton. They're all the same. It's about three different people with top secret classified information, and the treatment of the three. So focus. You can keep up.
You're right.
You're not answering my general question. Is there a double?
I am answering your question.
No, you're not.
Trying to compare
because Hillary Clinton
elected
Hillary
officials.
Clinton never had her home raided, nor did
Hillary Clinton also testified in front of...
Her home wasn't raided.
Look at this. The fucking dude can't even fucking... He's not even letting him say it. He's like, here's my questions. But these aren't questions now, are they? If you don't let your guest answer the questions, I guess your questions are statements.
Keep up. Her home wasn't raided. Trump's was.
Keep up.
Mr. Fowler, let me refresh you.
Fucking walk off, dude. Just take your mic off and be like, well, fuck you. Just leave. Just walk off, dude.
We don't have a lot classified
Sure,
if you recall, before the raid, the FBI was in the very room where those classified documents were found. They were there.
This is not about the FBI. This is about the National Archives.
They were there. They didn't need to write letters. They saw it all. They could have taken it with them that day.
But this is
they chose not to. They asked for a padlock. They got the padlock, and then comes the raid anyway. Be clear.
The FBI, a federal judge. A federal judge issued a subpoena, and the subpoena was served. It was not a raid.
Under Democratic administrations, they only raided one president or one presidential candidate, and that was Trump. And the other candidates got different treatment.
Because
that's not equal justice or equal application of our laws, and that's not good for this country.
But it was not a raid. Let's use the right language here.
With
Fact patterns and language matters.
When we come back, hate speech laws are...
He's like, here's the question, don't answer it, I'm going to talk over you. Here's the question, don't answer it, I'm going to talk over you. Like, it's fine, like, whatever. I'm kind of combative if people come in here, like, if they want to come in the Discord and disagree with me. And I do cut people off, but I cut people off if they're repeating themselves or word salading, changing the subject, trying to run a gish gallop on me, that kind of stuff. But I don't ask them a question and then after like 3 words in, like, fucking talk right over them. Like, even I don't do that. So here we go. In Nobody to Root For, we have the New York City Police Chief versus Caitlyn Jenner. They're talking about the thin blue line flag, and in this case, the New York City Police Chief, I think, has the right point of view. He's just kind of a scumbag.
While the LAPD banning the pro-police thin blue line flag from the department's public areas, all because of a single complaint that claimed the flag represents, quoting here, violent and extremist views.
Yes, it's a police brutality flag.
LA's police chief was quick to wave the white flag, agreeing that the thin blue line had become too controversial. The ban outraging thousands of officers who say the force is already suffering because of low morale. Let's bring in Caitlyn Jenner, former California gubernatorial candidate and a Fox News contributor. Caitlyn, it's always great to have you on. 10,000 members of the LAPD, which is pretty much everybody, disagree with the chief on this. You would think this time in history the chief would want to back up his officers.
Well, this is a political issue, amazing, in California. And Chief Michelle Moore, he went woke on us big time. Mm-hmm. And it's really hurting the morale out here in California. Basically what happened.
Oh, it was LAPD. I thought it was NYPD. My mistake.
He's an appointed position. He was appointed in 2018 by Eric Garcetti, and now he's up for reappointment. And he has to kind of cater to the board. Well, you can imagine here in California, the LAPD board is very woke. So this issue of the flag came up.
The LAPD doesn't have a board.
The blue line flag that has been in public areas for a while, and it's to really recognize the fallen LAPD officers that we've had over the last few years.
Yeah, whatever happened to athletes need to shut the fuck up and like not talk politics.
Other far left organizations says you can't put that flag up in a public place. It's racist. It promotes violence. And so he went woke on us and decided to go with the leftist groups and remove the flags. Well, that really pissed off the LAPD, and 10,000 officers rejected that. So he's trying to play his cards. It's typical here in California, which is the wokest place out there. Okay.
Fuck yeah.
He cannot please everybody. And I don't know if this strategy is going to work for him. The vote was supposed to be tomorrow, but Karen Bass, our mayor, put the vote off to get more public opinion. And obviously they're getting some public opinion right now. So we're going to see if he's going to be able to retain his position as police chief.
And here's what his position is, Caitlyn, very quickly. He said this to Fox News Digital. We received a community complaint of the presence of a blue line flag with the view that it symbolized support for violent extremist views, such as those represented by the Proud Boys and others. It's unfortunate that extremist groups have hijacked the use of the thin blue line flag to symbolize their undemocratic, racist, and bigoted views. I checked.
Yeah, nobody to root for here, because the thin blue line flag was always a political statement. And it's almost universally used to suggest that without police violence, you would be suffering violence at the hands of your neighbors or whatever. And so it's like an overtly political message, and the police are supposed to be apolitical or whatever. I know they're not, but it's an overtly political message, and they can fucking fly it. The cops can fly it on their fucking front porch and whatever. They can fly it on their doorstep. They can put the fucking symbol on their personal car, do whatever, but don't put that shit on your uniform or on your cop car.
There is no wide evidence that this flag has been hijacked by these extremist groups. It's just not true. So he's flying this false flag up the pole.
Well,
he thought he had a quip there.
Out here in California, they're going to decide what they want this flag to mean, and not what it really was meant to mean, and that was to remember the fallen officers here in the Los Angeles and LA.
That is not what the thin blue line flag means. Even the charitable interpretation is that the police are a line between you and the criminals. It does not mean to remember the fallen officers. That's not what it means.
PD, and they change the narrative. And that happens with everything. We see this all the time with the far left. They're trying to control the media, and out here you have nothing but far left media, so their point gets across. And so the chief, Moore, tried to play to that because it's the board, a very woke board, that is going to vote on him in the next few days. And he wants to keep his position. So we'll see if his strategy works. I don't know, but he certainly lost the LAPD officers. They're really upset with him. So I don't know what he's going to do. Even if he does get the job, is he going to be able to keep the LAPD officers on his side?
We shall soon find out. Caitlin Jenner, always great to have you on. Thank you. And Sandra, Caitlin makes a great point because the whole concept here is I talked to a guy I know from the Wounded Blue, which really goes after, fighting for officers who have been wounded and killed in the line of duty. He says this is a morale buster. I mean, this is killing morale. They are trying to get officers, and they are killing morale here each and every day because, they're asking officers who retired years ago to come back on the force because they cannot fill these positions. And here you have situations like this.
We used to just be worried about the hit to morale. Then we were worried to even have officers on the job because the morale got so low. Recruitment became so horrible for so many of these police departments across the country. And now the last thing we need is divisiveness that is lowering the morale even further and making it harder for the men and women in blue to do their job.
People don't want to be cops for some reason, and it's probably about the flag. No, it's people don't want to be cops. Like, I don't know. It pays pretty good. You get overtime. Like, there's all kinds of perks that you get professionally as a cop, and people still don't want to do the job for, whatever reason. Maybe the problem is the system, and there are people who just are not willing to become part of the system, that corrupt system that involves things like the thin blue line. So sometimes Tucker Carlson's show is objectively funny. Here's a couple examples. This is about breastfeeding and how it's just recent.
If it's not natural to breastfeed, how did the species get to where it is now? Why didn't we die out several millennia ago?
I think we found other ways like formula to feed the babies. So years ago,
during the medieval period, where did you get the Similac then?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not quite sure. But this breastfeeding phenomenon has been going on for the last 10 years.
Our
mothers weren't all exactly into breastfeeding. You had the feminism, the revolution, the 70s.
Wait a minute. What the fuck is this lady talking about? This is amazing. Did you know that breastfeeding is a feminist thing from the last 10 years, but it also goes back to the feminist movement of the 70s?
Women did not breastfeed like they do nowadays. So breastfeeding has not always been the answer.
Feminists, as usual, are helping to obscure biological realities because they don't like them. And that's an attack on science, and I'm against that.
It's a study that's just saying it's inappropriate to say that breast milk is the only natural way to feed a child. A man could naturally feed a child in other ways.
Well, actually, a man can't naturally feed a child. A man can't produce formula.
Natural. It's the natural.
One of the best fucking clips I've ever seen. Oh, we may watch that one again during the post game. That was some real fucking shit right there. Here we go. This is from actually the same show. There, apparently Tucker's show on, what was that? It was Friday. Apparently Tucker's show on Friday was fucking a real thing to behold. Here's him talking about cannabis and tobacco.
Why do they hate nicotine? Because nicotine frees your mind. No. Oh, if only the government would tell my kids they're fat. You can't even get the planes to take off on time. Oh, you're obsessed with gas stoves. No, you're obsessed with gas stoves, buddy. It's another battle in the culture wars. Oh, not the culture wars. They're worried about a culture war. Culture wars. Stop with the culture wars. incandescent light bulbs. They're also on the way out. Now you're stuck with some glowy fluorescent crap. Come and take it. How's that? The country has banned shower heads and toilets.
What?
Oh, have some more weed. Menthol cancer. No more nicotine for you.
Oh, whoa, this is great.
What are you going to come up with, a titanium straw? What? Got any ideas on that? Carmela Harris? Shut up, you freak. That's demented. You're a sick person, okay?
Oh, I don't know. That first clip was way better with the breastfeeding. We just started doing it in the last 10 years, but the fucking thing about, oh, don't smoke this, smoke that. Well, yeah, actually, I would suggest that people, if they're going to smoke one or the other, should in fact smoke cannabis. It has less negative health impacts than tobacco. And I say that as a person who sometimes smokes tobacco and sometimes smokes cannabis. So we got one more, Tucker. I'm kind of skipping around on the docket here because we are definitely not going to get to all these stories in an hour. Here's Tucker asking some questions about South Africa, and we never talk about it anymore because no one wants to admit what's happened there over the last 29 years. 29 years ago, South Africa abolished apartheid, just in case anybody was unaware of that. So this ought to be not racist.
We shouldn't be surprised by this, however, because it's consistent with what Biden has promised. Has promised since the day he got into office. And the promise was that race-blind justice, which is the entire foundation of the rule of law in the West, has been for centuries, is done. The new model, South Africa.
What?
That's the new model, South Africa. A country we never talk about because no one wants to admit what's happened there over the past 29 years.
Oh, what do you think? What do you think's happened there? I think he means like the black people fucking had rights and took over the government because they were the majority. They're the majority of the people. Of course, he's not going to actually say that. So we're going to move on to some school board stuff. This first one is a member of a school board. Don't know how he got elected. They're just not sending their best to the school board, that's for sure. He's going to ask about fertility care and fertility treatment for teachers and, suggest that maybe we shouldn't have that. Anyway, here we go.
Then we're looking at once an employee gets pregnant and they have to take time off with their pregnancy, then we're looking at having to hire substitute, replace that person. So there's other things, other cost factors that'll be built in there other than just what we've got to think about. So we need to think about the whole thing and look at the whole thing and just not have a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, he's like saying we need to look into the other costs if we provide fertility treatment to teachers who would like help raising kids, which is real interesting because I thought these people wanted everybody having kids. But I guess maybe it really depends. Depends who. They don't really want teachers having kids, right? Those teachers might be liberals. Don't want them liberals having kids. Oh no. Here's father loses it at school board over book discussing bestiality, allegedly available to 7-year-old daughter.
This morning, I accessed a book. I can assure you that this book has been approved and is accessible to my daughter, the one that's 7 years old. By the way, I have accessed this book. I'm going to read you a little passage from this book because if it's good enough for her to access it, it's good enough to be read over here. And this book is approved according to the Waterloo District School Board for grade 4 to 5 reading level. He could have been an active homosexual, but lacked the courage. Bestiality did not occur to him, and sodomy was quite out of the question, for he did not experience sustained and could not endure the thought of somebody else's. And since he was too different to confront homosexuality, and since little boys were insulting, scary, and stubborn, he further limited his interest to little girls. They were usually manageable and frequently seductive. But someday I will die. I was always so kind. Why do I have to die? The little girls are the only things I'll miss. Do you know that when I touched their and bit them just a little, I felt I was being friendly? That's The Bluest Eye, a book that my daughter can access.
The Bluest Eye. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about that book, but I don't know. It just seems like people are going to the school board. Like, I don't know. Should the school library have that book? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows what the point of the book is? Like, he didn't tell us anything what the point of the book was. I don't know. But yeah, I thought, freedom of speech and all that. So you knew we were going to talk about it. There was a bit of a fight this week, bit of a dust up in the conservative media space. And it was between the Steven Crowder and probably his dad and Ben Shapiro and the people at the Daily Wire. So let's take a look at a few clips here.
But for the first time, I have to say that I believe many of those in charge in the right-leaning media are actually at odds with what's best for you, the viewer, the customer, and more importantly, the country. We here at Mug Club, we thought that we were all in this together, that we were fighting the media, entertainment, industrial complex. We thought that we were all genuinely taking it to big tech. But too many of those in charge of the big conservative platforms are verifiably in bed with them. Big tech is in bed with big con. The people I thought were fighting for you, a lot of it has been a big con. Now, I'm specifically avoiding naming names or going after individuals in this video because I genuinely hope that those I'm addressing, and you know who you are, have a change of heart. It's never too late to do the right thing. Guys, this is a genuine plea. We can all do better. We can all do better. It doesn't have to be this way. And please, don't make me have to provide receipts.
Oh, the thing is, everybody knew he was talking about the Daily Wire. Everybody knew he was talking about the Daily Wire. So here is Jeremy Boring, which is an unfortunate name. He's going to, I guess, hit back at Steven Crowder, saying that, he's also been funded by lots of people with money throughout his career.
And how would we stay in business? And Steven, this is a very important point. Steven, again, I think the most entertaining, talented person in the conservative movement. I think one of the most entertaining and talented people in entertainment generally in the country today.
No.
Has created a very successful content generation company, a very successful production company. But Steven's never had to create the company that actually distributes, markets, and monetizes all of that content. He talks in his video about being one of the only true independent conservative voices. And I find that incredibly offensive. Steven, the whole time I've known him, has worked for someone else, has been paid by someone else. That doesn't mean other people tell him what to say. He's a very independent voice, and that's good. So is Matt Walsh. So is Candace Owens. So is Ben Shapiro. So is Michael Knowles. So is Brett Cooper.
Who's Brett Cooper?
But Steven, as much or more than any of them, a very independent voice. But he's not exactly a self-made man. That's not true. He was paid by PJTV when I met him, which was owned by a billionaire at the time. Then he was paid by CRTV for a number of years, which was owned by a billionaire at the time. Then he was paid by The Blaze, which was subsidized by a billionaire, until Tyler Cardin, one of the real genius businessmen in our movement, turned the company around and made it profitable. During all of that time, Steven drove a ton of revenue. He's incredibly valuable. I'm not suggesting that he wasn't driving value. He was. I'm only saying he didn't have to build all of that. He didn't have to think about it. And he didn't necessarily have to be profitable. And he doesn't know for a fact that he was profitable because, as he has said very publicly, all those companies, none of them really shared all the information about what was happening with them. So Stephen feels very certain that his show was always profitable, but he doesn't know that his show was profitable. And even if it was, what became of that profit? Most of that profit almost certainly was reinvested into growing the infrastructure and growing the technology and growing the marketing and growing the compliance. That's how business works.
This is great. This is great. They've got like their not really on-air personality guy on there going after, basically not going after Steven Crowder, but saying, Steven, really? Like, you were funded by billionaires. Like, this guy, by the way, Daily Wire is not an independent organization either. They have financial backing. So here's Ben Shapiro reacting to Steven Crowder's accusations about the Daily Wire.
Okay, meanwhile, I would just like to take a moment, speaking of big tech and its suppression of free speech, take one moment to comment on a controversy that has broken out because my friend Steven Crowder, been friends with Steven for a long time, like well over a decade. I was his lawyer when he first signed a contract with Fox, and I've been friendly for a very long time. He put out a video essentially accusing Daily Wire of being in league with big tech. He's accusing us of being in league with big tech because of a term sheet, a negotiable term sheet that we submitted to him that offered to pay him $50 million over 4 years. And included provisions that said that if he got booted from arenas that would lose him ad dollars, since we would also lose the ad dollars, then he would lose money as well. This is typically how contracts work. If his show were to start losing money, this is true of my show. If my show loses money and it loses the Daily Wire money, I lose money. And so if Steven had come to work at Daily Wire Plus, it would have been precisely the same thing. Right? That if he had lost money in the ad space and his show had lost money, then he also would have lost money because that's how a joint venture works. Steven interpreted that as somehow misinterpreted. I'll give it the best possible gloss. He somehow misinterpreted that as us attempting to quote unquote do the work of YouTube. No. If you want more on that, then you should check out my friend and co-founder Jeremy Boring's 55-minute video going through every single word of the.
Oh, we ain't gonna watch that whole thing.
Read on his own YouTube channel. He read certain parts, he didn't read other parts. Jeremy reads literally word for word the entire term sheet and explains every single term therein. I think it is well worth the watch. We should all be on the same side of this thing. I'm encouraging you that you should go subscribe to Steven's Mug Club. I hope that he's very successful in whatever endeavor he chooses to pursue. That does not mean that he happens to be correct about the term sheet we submitted to him. And there is something rather nasty about attacking people who have been friends for over a decade, colleagues, defenders for over a decade, on the basis of your own misinterpretation of a document that offers you $50 million over the course of 4 years.
None of these people are your friends. These people you meet as like a creator or whatever, they're not your friends. They're just not. You may end up becoming like real life friends with one or two people if you're in this kind of game. But I don't think Ben Shapiro and fucking Steven Crowder be palling around and shit. These people aren't Steven Crowder's friends, and they shouldn't be. Nobody should be friends with someone like Steven Crowder, I don't think. Not even little tiny dancer Ben Shapiro should be friends with somebody like Steven Crowder. But this is kind of great to watch because Steven Crowder's contract with the Blaze was not renewed, and so he's kind of out there on his own, not getting funding from a major media organization, and he tried to get funding from the Daily Wire, and he just didn't agree to like a simple contract. And instead of trying to be like, well, I don't understand what this means, or can we renegotiate this part of the contract or whatever, he just threw a fit because the first offer they sent him wasn't basically written by Steven Crowder. I mean, so far as I can tell, that's what's going on here. And like, I don't know, him and his dad are doing a really shitty job of negotiating, apparently, because if their version of negotiating is having like a piss baby fit like on the internet about the terms of an agreement that could have been negotiated to change the terms of the agreement, then they're like really poor negotiators. And I say that as somebody who probably isn't the best negotiator myself, but you know, whatever. I'll take that 50 mil for 4 years, Daily Wire, and you could claim to have a voice from the left on your show. It'd be really good for your propaganda campaign and bad for my integrity, but I would take the money because $50 million is worth more than my integrity. I'll fucking cop to that shit. Not the system I want, the system I live in. Anyway, here's Candace Owens on this exciting turn of events.
Unrelatable. People are trying to pay for bacon and eggs right now at the grocery store, trying to buy a steak once a week, and you're over here crying because somebody couldn't meet you at $120 million. And it is crying. I don't like it. It was a total bitch move. There are plenty of things that happen across all organizations in the conservative movement where I will say that I empathize with Steven Crowder and saying that sometimes you feel like a cynic, which is like, is everybody selling out? Are people doing this, people doing that? There are a lot of things that Daily Wire has done that I disagree with. There's a lot of things that Turning Point has done that I disagree with. There are things perhaps that PragerU has done that I disagree with. I have worked with all of these companies, right? But to do a total bitch move and go out to the public rather than trying to resolve these things and these slight differences behind the scenes, and to make it seem like you're the hero and you're the true one and you keep it authentic when really nothing happened other than you didn't like an initial term sheet. And all you had to do was tell them that and tell them what you didn't like and go back and forth with lawyers like everybody else. I think it's crappy. I think Steven is a little egocentric. He probably will do better on his own. I don't think he knows how to play on a team. And by the way, the last thing I'm going to say, because I'm going on Tim Pool's tonight, so I'm going to say it anyways later, is that I'm pretty sure, wasn't it Steven Crowder who also screwed over somebody he used to work with? Was it not Gay Jared? Because he had him tied up in a contract. Wasn't that Steven Crowder who did that? So is he supposed to be the moral high bar? Are we not supposed to call him out for that? Here's the thing. Steven, why don't you release Not Gay Jared from his NDA and allow him to talk about how he felt he was treated by you? Because I know that at the Blaze, everyone says that you're actually not that nice. You treat people poorly, but you bring in so much revenue that everybody just has to take it. So I don't like it. It stinks to high heaven. And I'm calling you out on that because I think it was crappy that you threw mud on me. Did it the first time via a tweet a long time ago. You're not doing it a second time. Total bitch move. Next.
Like, she's right there. She's a ghoul too, but she's right. She said the same thing I said, essentially, is like, you get an initial offer for a contract. You don't like parts of it. You fucking talk to your lawyer about it. And then you fucking renegotiate those parts of the contract. It's all in the game, baby. It's not even like controversial. So that's enough of that. But I think that the more shit's gonna come out about old Steven Crowder as time goes on. I think he fucking done pissed off a lot of people in that media space. And there's some rumors about him. And so I wouldn't be surprised at all if the next bit of tea spilled about him is by a certain Christian Walker. I don't know anything for sure, but that's I've heard some rumors about old Steven. Anyway, we're going to gear up for the next big fight. This is going to be the former president versus the current governor of Florida. And this will be another fun one to watch. If I had to guess, though, I'd think the current governor of Florida is actually going to win this fight if it comes to it.
Those rallies were unbelievable, and he ended up beating Gillum. And most people thought he couldn't do that, but I thought he could. So I got him elected, pure and simple. He would have never, if I said I wasn't going to endorse you, and I was close, there was no reason to go wild about endorsing him. So, now I hear he might want to run against me, so we'll handle that the way I handle things.
Yeah, so we'll handle that the way I handle things. Oh, I don't know. I think fucking Trump might get spanked by Ron DeSantis in a primary. I think Trump might get spanked by Ron DeSantis because Ron DeSantis has actually been an effective governor of Florida. I don't like what he's doing, but he's sure doing the shit out of it. And the people in Florida sure love him. That's a lot of votes in Florida. A lot of California Republicans like him too. There's a primary here in California. I think fucking Ron DeSantis there's a pretty good chance of fucking being the one to like dethrone Trump as the leader of the modern conservative movement. I don't know for sure, but that's just my guess. So now that we talked about that upcoming fight, now we're gearing up for the stupidest fight of all. This is for the chair of the Republican National Committee, Ronna McDaniel, I think her name is the current chair, and a coke-addicted pillow salesman is going to try to dethrone Ms. McDaniel.
It's almost like Rana watched my video I did for all the members this last week and put it out to all the 168 of what I plan on doing being the RNC chair. She says, well, we can finally get involved in election integrity. You collected $80 million in 2020 at the end of 2020 saying that's exactly what you're going to do, and you never spent it on that. So all the things within the RNC, you can streamline costs. I do that all day long as a CEO. I'll fix all that right away. But one of the things I'm 2 years ahead of her and Harmeet is I've been working with the grassroots. We've been working to fix this country's election platform, Steve. This is what has to be done, and we're well on our way. And we need the RNC to get behind these things that are going to get the candidates out there. I'll be able to look. I'm going to bring trust back to the RNC.
Oh, this is going to be great. I don't think any of these Republican establishment people who are in charge of the RNC are going to have fucking 1 second of time for this guy. But boy, would it be great if this guy was the head of the RNC. What a fucking amazing thing that would be. It would be so much fun. Just the absolute fucking clown show that would ensue. I mean, we thought we'd seen clown shows in the Republican Party before, but this would just be like beyond the pale. This would be stunning. I would be very happy to see Mike Pillow be the head of the RNC. So it's the official position of Echoplex Media that Mike Pillow should be the head of the RNC. And mostly one of the reasons it'd be great if that happened is watching Don Jr. talk about how great it is. Here's Don Jr. just talking real fast. Check this out.
This is not a kickback, folks, obviously. It's not the 10% for the big guy. It's not another form of fraud that Joe, his family, because, clearly they're good. I'm sure this is as legit as all of Hunter's other dealings, like the artwork for $500,000. Totally legit, guys. There's nothing to see here, right? Now, if we had real journalists, the logical next question they should be asking Joe Biden is, have you ever collected rent from your son, Hunter? And if so, how much did you collect? Of course, no journalist will actually ask that question, right? Which proves they're not, in fact, journalists. But guys, we've known.
Or maybe journalists looked into the claim and they're like, well, we can't really, we don't know what you're talking about.
For a long period of time. If it's not the way to launder money or kick it back to Joe, again, this could be the 10% for the big guy. Who the hell knows?
Journalism actually isn't when you just repeat the wild claims you've heard to people in power. That's what journalism isn't.
Just scrubbed by Hunter way overpaying in rent. Did Hunter and his shady cohorts from China, Ukraine, Russia, did they have access to the classified documents that were stashed there? I mean, that would be another logical question if we actually had media, but we don't.
This guy thinks media, like honest media, is when they just repeat claims at politicians. I don't know, why ain't the media asking Trump about his fucking connection to Jeff Epstein? I mean, maybe some of them have. Anyway, if you remember, a few years ago, there was a famous clip of old Jordy Pete talking about women in the workplace. And I thought that discourse had gone away. But here's Candace Owens to bring back the should women work discourse. Fantastic.
And then, of course, I thought to myself, women in the workplace. What about that one? Are we a distraction? Do you guys think we're a distraction? And the more I thought about it, I thought, yeah, we kind of are a distraction. If you
But you're a woman in the what? She's like one of the fucking what is she talking about? Isn't she one of the most popular people at the Daily Wire? She's like, other women are a distraction.
In general, if you think about what men have to do when they go to work now, it's essentially just a bunch of landmines, right? Once upon a time, it was a man's world. Yes, I agree. And by the way, I want to make it clear, I am not making an argument that women should not have the right to work and should be relegated to the household. I'm not saying that whatsoever, but I am acknowledging that things have gotten worse at work since women joined the workforce. I think that men are having to deal with all these landmines everywhere.
Like, don't call your assistant toots. Don't pinch any ass. Don't comment on how tight someone's sweater is. What a bunch of landmines. How do all these men deal with all these landmines at work? How do they possibly deal with all this at work?
Do I say something? Do I not say something? Got to be careful on how I speak to this person because she's a woman. She might see this as some sort of an assault. Oh, do I tell her she looks nice today? Or is she going to think that that's inappropriate? Is it appropriate? Especially in the post-Me Too era, forget it. Do I say anything to her? Well, if I don't say anything to her, well, she's going to say that I'm ignoring her because I'm a man. If I say something to her, she's going to say I'm only speaking to her because I'm a man. I mean, I couldn't even imagine the internal dialogue that men must be having at work at all times. And I laugh because
that would be an internal monologue.
This year, the Daily Wire had a Christmas party, and I didn't go for separate reasons, but I found out that the Christmas party was dry. And immediately in my head, I didn't say this out loud, but I'm saying it out loud now, I thought to myself, why is it a dry party? Who ruined it? Right? Who ruined it? Why?
God, could you imagine the reason for the party not having alcohol was like the year before Ben Shapiro got like drunk and had like a lampshade on his head and was dancing on the bar and shit? I mean, whatever. That's the story I'm going to tell.
Is there a dry Christmas party? Everybody knows Christmas parties are not supposed to be dry. Supposed to have a great time with all of your colleagues. Everyone gets ridiculously drunk, and it's the one time a year that you can do that. All of your work all year, and then you look forward to the holiday.
No, it's actually poor form to get fucking housed at any work party. Yeah, have a few drinks, loosen up, have some fun, but don't get housed at a work party. It's a bad idea. If you and a couple work friends want to go to the bar after the work party, then fuck yeah, go get housed at the bar. Don't get housed at the work party. It's a bad scene. You don't want to get all sloppy in front of people.
And all of the office employees and office colleagues can get drunk. But no, now, similar to Daily Wire, a bunch of corporations are saying, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Well, why are they saying let's not do that? I don't know for sure, but probably because they're avoiding traps, right?
The Daily Wire pushes like this kind of Christian conservative ideology. Maybe that's why they didn't have alcohol at their party. Maybe it's because they can't. It's part of their brand. Maybe that they would have a dry party where there was no vice or whatever. Maybe that's why. Maybe it has nothing to do with whether or not people are going to sexually harass anybody or there are going to be claims about it. Maybe it's just that their brand is this very kind of buttoned up conservative brand. Maybe I prefer that Ben Shapiro can't hold his liquor and just wiles out if he has a few drinks. That's the story I want. So more on this discourse about women at work. We're going to talk about women wearing makeup or perfume, and it's unfortunately going to be Tim Pool.
I think fake breasts in general, just bad. Just absolutely not a fan. Not a fan of makeup either. I don't like any of this stuff. I think women should be themselves, but women are trying to attract mates. So it makes you think about a few things. Lipstick, rouge, perfume. You know, the idea with lipstick is to make the lips brighter red.
This is exactly what Jordan Peterson said about, it's there to simulate sexual arousal.
Simulate fertility. When women are fertile, again, this is like a science, their lips become flush and more attractive. Thus, women started putting on lipstick to simulate it to be more attractive. Then there's also perfume. Perfume I never quite understood. Smelling like flowers makes you more attractive to guys. Maybe it was too...
Well, maybe some people think it smells nice, Tim.
Mask body odor or something that was considered unattractive. I don't know. Most people stank. Or I don't know if they actually did. I just didn't shower all that much. I don't know. The point is, people do things. Women do things to be more attractive. For this woman, she has opted for size M breasts. That's the world we're living in. Take a look at this. Andrew at Don't Walk Run posted this video. He says this girl is delusional and thinks she can pull a man who makes 7 figures. Reality, she'll be a single mom the next 3 years with 2 kids from 2 different fathers.
Whoa, why? You don't know anything about her.
How much do you expect your guy to make a year?
At least 7 figures. 7 figures at least.
Do you know how difficult it is to make 7 figures?
Absolutely, I do. Obviously, we deserve it. 7 figures.
7 figures, both of you.
Yes.
Those gals might be trolling him.
She's kind of joking. The point is, this lady on the left, She's a bigger woman. If you look at her face, like her face,
she's just like a regular lady. She's like, what are you, Tim?
That's the point that Andrew was trying to make. She's delusional. She thinks she's going to get somewhere 7 figures.
Whoa, dude. Oh my God. Oh, well. We're going to do one more clip. We'll go over a couple minutes on the podcast part of the show, and then we'll go into red light. Because I have a clip that I just called, Why is Jimmy Dore? And so I'm sure it's fantastic. Oh, it's about Greta Thunberg and, oh no.
How come you never protest Saudi Arabia or Russia? You only protest Western energy. Why have you never criticized Vladimir Putin or OPEC?
Yeah, I've never done that. Never, ever.
Will you do so now? Will you condemn OPEC energy?
That's a super legit question. Will you condemn OPEC energy? Well, how does someone navigate that?
She doesn't know what that is.
Now, OPEC is in bed with the West. They're in bed with the petrodollar. They're propping up the United States petrodollar, which allows us to commit genocides and wars all over the world. That is a big pusher of climate change, the military. That's a completely legitimate question. And she just ignores it. Let's watch.
Greta, can you condemn every...
And then she starts laughing.
Like, yeah. That's fucking kryptonite to these people, is to fucking laugh at them. It's smart. Yeah, laugh at these people. Always laugh at these people. They hate not being taken seriously.
Like, I'm sorry, you guys. This is fucking, you got a shitty spokesperson. Mm-hmm. You got a really shitty, this is your, do you think this is going to get it done on climate change? You think acting like a child, which is what she's doing. She's acting like she's 12 years old, not like she's 20 and responsible. She can't answer a direct question about climate change.
She also didn't have a press conference and say, I am here to answer your questions. She's like walking down the fucking street.
Not one
single delegate that's come here on a private jet. Surely that's something you should condemn.
She won't.
You can do it too.
She won't do it. Isn't that, what is this weird? What kind of a weird back and forth is she? This is crazy.
Well, yeah, she didn't offer up a press conference, and not for nothing. She's like neuroatypical. Like, maybe she doesn't handle these situations the way you'd like her to. And like, she was just walking down the street, dude. She wasn't like, here, I'd like to take some questions from the press. I mean, you could ask people questions walking down the street, but they could fucking laugh at you and tell you to go fuck yourself too. Like, oh, this is it's all in the game, baby. That's how it works. You don't have to I don't have to answer someone's question if I'm walking down the street. It doesn't matter if I'm Greta Thunberg, producer Dave, or like a senator on my way to go get a coffee. Or anybody. You don't have to answer questions, and you don't have to take people seriously when they come to you and try to ask the questions. It is your right as a human being to not take people seriously. And I believe that was someone from Rebel News in Canada too. So it's not like that person is, unknown. It's not like people around didn't know who that person was and like what organization they represent. Like, whatever. Anyway, that's the end of the pod. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in and hanging out in the chat during the pod. Thanks to those who followed, and thanks, Justin, for the raid. You can check out patreon.com/Echoplex to get the whole show, audio and video, sent right to your email the day after the show is released. The regular pod without the upfront and without the post game gets put out on like Spotify and everything like 2 days later. And I don't know. Go to echoplexmedia.com/support and find other ways to support this channel. I'm going to pour myself a cocktail and turn the lights red, and we'll be back with Red Light.
You recall
Should your pay